Boom. There we go. Now sound is working. I'm sorry. Let me know, Lou, if that sound great. It should sound better. It was my clicked into another situation. Not bad. All right. Yeah, let me know if this round is working now. I'm sorry about that, y'all. So I don't think none of y'all heard what I said. So those of you who are still watching, I appreciate you supporting your boy because y'all could have easily been gone. But somebody please jump in the comment to make sure that you can hear me loud and clear. Please do so. Uh, I can go over on Facebook and check myself, but there'll be some type of feedback, but I'll do it anyway. No, because if I do them using my phone, it's going to kick me out. Okay, cool. Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Lou. So let's back up a little bit because you guys missed it. I'm sorry. Let me start this over with. Noticeably, I'm sorry, guys, for technical difficulty, but let me back this up. Listen, obviously, Coach D-Way is not here. J-Dub is not here. If you was on the show last week, you also heard us talk about how J-Dub lost his father-in-law. So right now, Coach D-Way and J-Dub, they're actually going to that funeral service or that memorial service, and they need to take care of their family business. They'll be back next week. Since I'm here by myself. I won't do a whole podcast. I'll do my part. But those of you who are a fan of this show, who watch the show, please, please, please join me over at 7 o'clock at Facebook Talk Radio with Lewis Medford and the professor, and the officer TJ Tawakoni Claiborne. Join us over there. If you like this content, please join us over there at 7 o'clock. You can find them both on Facebook. Either dial in Lewis, type up Lewis Medford on Facebook and follow the feed from there, or Facebook Talk Radio and follow the feed for there. I'll continue everything we have to say about sports over there, but I'm going to give a brief rundown. Now that we got it out the way, once again, who is the greatest female boxer ever? Period. All right, let's go ahead and talk about it. I always thought it was Claressa Shields. I felt like from what I was watching, what I seen with my own eyes, I felt like that maybe she edged Layla Ali by a little bit, but now I'm staying corrected. I'm going to show you why. But man, you talk about these women, man, you're talking about Claressa Shields over to your far left, and then you have Ann Wolfe, you have Layla Ali, all just phenomenal boxers in their own right, man. Great women athletes, man. You can't what you see is what you see, and what you see is what you get out of these women. Phenomenal boxers. But I'm gonna let you judge it with your own eyes, and then we'll come back and discuss it. So let me commentate this. Let's pull up. I think this is Ann Wolfe in her day. Yeah, she was a beast. I mean, oh yeah. She. And I'm gonna give you a rundown on Ann Wolfe. Like, yeah, man, look at her. Oh, good God, that caught me off guard. Yeah. That's that. Now let's pull up Layla Ali. If you notice Layla Ali, the one thing that I've always liked about her style, as I've been going down this rabbit hole of her highlights, she gets through the guard very well. Like if you hold, like old girl's trying to hold them guards up, she is breaking through that guard and making it, and just doing her thing, just breaking through that guard, breaking through that guard. That's what she was always good at, you know, coming with power. Now let's check out a few of Claressa Shields highlights. If you watch Claressa, she has similar fighting style to Layla Ali. The only difference with her and Layla Ali, number one, we'll talk about it later. The man was talking about, but her ability to change levels. You don't see Layla Ali changing levels most, but Claressa will change level. And then the speed she have for going in. You see how she's breaking the guard just like Layla Ali. You could tell me she would definitely watch a lot of Layla Ali fights going through the guard, and she's doing it with speed. So I mean, look at that, boom, boom. Yeah, Claressa is a beast. Oh, she touched on that nose. Oh, get out of there. Oh, stop. Rev, help her, please. Get in there. Oh, stop it. No, so breaking down, let's take a look at Ann Wolfe, right? And it's just me giving you a little history about female boxers. Ann Wolfe, boxing career started in 1998, but she didn't get into boxing. It was 1996. This is crazy. It was 1996. She was sitting in the ER of a hospital because she was homeless, and that's where she went, shelter from the cold, basically sleeping in hospitals and stuff like that, homeless in 1996. And all of a sudden, 1998, she's a professional boxer. So she really, really got it out of the mud and has really, really been doing her thing. He said, Layla is the woman's go. Ann Wolfe was the most excited. And he said, Shields is next gen. Absolutely, G. I appreciate that. When you look at Ann Wolfe, her record is 24, 1-1. So 21 bouts, 24 bouts, one loss, which I think like her second or third fight. And then she had a 1-0 contest where she got disqualified. No. It was a incidental cut, and she got disqualified from that fight. Layla Ali, I think she's 24-24. I mean 24-0. I think 16 KOs that she's had. Ann Wolfe had 18 KOs. Let me pull it up right here. Phenomenal. These women are 21 knockouts. I'm so sorry, Layla Ali. 21 knockouts, 24-0, 21 knockouts. Ann Wolfe, 624 wins, 16 knockouts. And then you get the Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields, 17-0 with only 3 KOs. Right off the bat, 24, 1-1, 16 KOs, 24-0, 21 KOs. Claressa Shields, 17-0, 3 KOs. You don't have to be a boxing enthusiast to understand what I just said. Obviously, Claressa Shields ain't got the power of the other two. Straight. If you ain't knocking folk out, I'm sorry. You're both of them. She's a high level strategic boxer. She just don't have the power, right? That is what it is. And Wolfe is the most feared woman in boxing. Her biggest one you saw on the clip when she fought Amanda Ward, a 6'6" lady who played professional basketball, got into boxing, and was just the heavyweight champion at the time. And then Ann Wolfe put her slap on her back. The lady had a concussion in her neck. That's how bad the hit was. I ain't never known people to, I've never heard that before in life. You're giving somebody a concussion in their neck. But that's what she had. But, and that's kind of what trajected Ann Wolfe into the greatness. And then you have Lala Ali, 24 fights, 21 knockouts. She came and jumped on the scene and just ran through women boxing. And then the next gen, as G said, will look Claressa Shields. Yeah, and G is bringing up Christy Martin. I don't want to pull up those highlights of Christy Martin getting beat by Lala Ali, but we're not. So she was good. Christy Martin was bad. She was cold-blooded. She had a lot of personal stuff going on in her family, so almost lost her life by the hands of her husband and stuff like that. But in the boxing ring, she couldn't stand toe-to-toe. Matter of fact, she got knocked out by Lala Ali. So, I mean, she was good for a time, and then she met Lala Ali. But no disrespect to her name. She's in the Boxing Women Hall of Fame, so I'm not going to take no credit from her. But, yeah, Christy Martin. But these are the GOATs. My biggest problem with this, number one, is I don't like the fact that the Lala Ali and Claressa Shields ended the way it did. I don't like that, right? I think it should have been a little bit more respect paid to her. But the young folks going to do what the young folks do. 17-year gap between the two. I wish they would have came to amends. But make no mistake about it, y'all. Claressa Shields didn't handle the social media game. She didn't handle the mutual respect game. But y'all are disrespecting her as though she's not considered one of the greatest women boxers of all time because she lost a little back and forth with Lala Ali. She just signed an $8 million contract with her current promoters, which is, man, crazy in women's boxing. So after all the stuff that people want to troll in public opinion and on social media, the people who know boxing still understand her worth to give her an $8 million contract. So that's we got to put some respect on her name, right? Now I want to talk about Lala Ali. I love Lala Ali. I think as being the older fighter, she should have had some should have handled a little differently, but she didn't. But I have a big question against Lala Ali. Ann Wolfe fought from 1998 to 2006. You fought from 1999, I think, to 2007. So essentially, you guys were fighting at the exact same time. Lala, after much request, after much trolling, after much begging, why didn't you fight Ann Wolfe? See, Claressa Shields brought that up, and then Lala Ali swept it under the rug. But now I'm pulling out of the rug, and I want to ask the same question. Why didn't you fight Ann Wolfe? You're younger. You 47 now, she's 54. You guys started boxing basically around the same time, had almost the same length of career, give or take on when you started in 99, she started in 99. So basically, both 1 year early. Like, come on, I don't understand it. You were the younger fighter. You started a year later than she did, and ended a year later. Why didn't you fight her? She asked you to fight her. Simply because, and I'm going to end this right there, right now, in my humble opinion, and what I've seen after much digging and research, 24 and 21 knockouts, phenomenal. But Ann Wolfe, in my opinion, is the greatest woman boxer ever. The most feared woman in boxing because the woman we consider the GOAT, which is Lala Ali, ran from her. When G said they wanted men's money back then. Yeah. And they could have got men's money. If that you talking about Lala Ali and Ann Wolfe? Ann Wolfe is at the pinnacle, just knocked out a 6'7" basketball player. She has 7 different titles that she's had, and with 3 weight divisions. And Ann Wolfe ended her career because nobody wanted to fight her, including Lala Ali. That's when you know you the GOAT. When you can't get, and you're not, it's different when you are aged boxer and you have somebody that's a whole lot younger than you want to fight. This is not the case, man. This is you, the younger fighter, and you have an older fighter that wants to fight you because your career spans the same decade, and you like, no. He said, don't push the buddy for women. But you know what, G? You're right. They wanted payday. But at the end of the day, you've been fighting for less. You took all those different fights. Remember, you fought a whole year after Ann Wolfe fought. And you dodged it. Call it what it. When we talk about Floyd and Pacquiao, we get the strategic value. Wait till Pacquiao get a little older. But at the end of the day, we all know that Floyd was docking Pacquiao because he didn't want that young Pacquiao smoke. He's going to wait later on. He wasn't ready to have that type of challenge on his resume because he was trying to fight an undefeated record. We know that. And this is the same situation, I believe, with Layla Ali. She did not want to have that big challenge because she didn't want to potentially have an L on her record. Because let me tell you right now, I believe, and I rest with this, Ann Wolfe would have put them dukes on her. Would have put on Layla Ali. And as much as I love Ayla, see, Ann Wolfe represents a person who's getting out of the gutter, had to get on her own, no hands out. When she was in the emergency room with her two daughters trying to find shelter, homeless, for all of 1996, while in the emergency room, they had a female boxing that matched on the TV. And she said, I want to do this. So she went and searched for some gym that would take her, and she found Paz Billingsley, and he took her on the win. He took her, and then 1998, she's fighting her first fight. I mean, that's crazy. She started boxing, a little bit after that. Maybe 6 months she was in the ring after, going through that, sparring with heavyweights. Got it out of the gutter. And I don't need to say about Layla Ali. Layla Ali, saying her name came to notoriety because of her namesake. Let's call it what it is. She was America's sweetheart, her dad, all that stuff. So she had access to the best this and the best that, I mean, Ann Wolfe went to gym looking for somebody who would take her upon her wing because she was a troublemaker. A woman with 2 kids. You got a reputation in the city as being a menace to society. Because what you don't know, she lost her parents. She was abused as a kid, lost her parent. Her father got murdered, and her mother died of cancer. So 18 years old, she have all this trauma in her life, and now she's faced to do life on her own with 2 daughters. And so all that energy built up into this menace to society. Now she got to go out and try to find somebody who would give her a chance because her name is running through the streets. Literally, she was running through the streets with 2 kids, and her bad girl attitude was running through the streets, but she able to found somebody to control that. And she had a phenomenal career. And if you just pull up Ann Wolfe for yourself, y'all just for yourself. Let's move on to this other thing I wanted to talk about in boxing as we, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis canceled. And I'm glad about it. This fight and all these other fights is what's wrong with boxing. Now, I will say this, and I'm going to go ahead and say this right off the rip. What Jake Paul and his brother have done to create an avenue for themselves the easy way, or not gonna say the easy way, a different way, right? Because you got to get in the ring and fight. Jake got to get up there and throw himself off top bogles in WWE. So it's not easy. They still got to go and be the best in their best shape. But it's another way, an unconventional way. I applaud them for using whatever they platform, whatever resource they had to do something they love and able to skip the line. We all would agree if we had monies and get to live out our dreams, all of us would use our money and resources to do so. With that being said, we have to accept, regardless of whether I applaud his effort as an individual, it's still a disrespect to boxing. It's straight up. Logan, on the other hand, going to the entertainment side of WWE, that's perfect because everybody on there scripted, everybody on there faking. So I appreciate that. Right? And he's a heel over there, so it is what it is, right? So everybody don't like him over there because he's a heel. But over here, in professional, real boxing, like you can't script these fights, and I believe that's what Jake Paul has done, and using the namesake of these famous boxers. Nate Robinson, the basketball player, Ben Askren, we know who he was over with Kimbo Slice and all that stuff like that, and growing up through MMA. You're talking about our guy, our beloved Anderson Silva. Like, don't take that fight. Nate Diaz, like, come on, bro. Like, we don't do that. Didn't know too much about Tommy Fury, but we knew his brother was Tommy Fury. You know what I'm saying? And he lost that fight. Mike Tyson, my God, right? And then you turn around now, you have this current champion, Gervonta Davis. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Um, the background scoop from what I heard obviously Jake Paul goes out and he talks real bad about Tank, talked about how the fact that he, they canceled the fight because they said Gervonta Davis and his civil suit against his girlfriend's baby mama, whatever, in domestic disputes, whatever the civil suit, right? Okay, whatever. And I get it. He said he didn't want to fight a woman beater because he promotes women athletes. Okay, fine. You're the owner of your company. You have the right to say what you want to say in the public opinion. But here's my background understanding. I don't think Gervonta knew what he was getting into when he signed that contract. You're talking about this type of fight, a fight that you can't legally sanction because of the weight classes in boxing. So it has to be an exhibition. So everybody knows the exhibition, but yet Paul is trying to manipulate the people to promote it like it's a real fight. See, that's a problem. You can't legally have this fight because of the weight classes in boxing, but Gervonta signs a contract understanding in this exhibition, but Paul is trying to market it like it's a real fight. And Paul has all the money. Paul controls the narrative. I understand why Jake was uninterested. I understand why Jake was showing up. I mean, not Jake, but Gervonta was not showing up to meetings. I understand why he was having certain requests that didn't seem like it was favorable to the star of this dog and pony show, And so eventually they wanted to find the part ways, but they didn't want to make it weird. And so when this whole situation came out, with this civil suit, it made it easier for the Paul and them to say, hey, let's cancel this fight. But this fight never should have been signed. It never should have been, because it's a mockery of sports, right? Don't matter who you think is going to win or lose. I'll leave it up to you to have your own opinion. But this fight is not a traditional boxing fight. And, if you're going to fight somebody, Jake Paul, you've heard me say it on this podcast. You heard other people say it, not just me, but mainstream media, even the boxing community. Do it the right way, sir. Do it the right way. That's all I'm going to say on that. Brian Daboll gets fired after his loss to the Bears. Listen, we saw this coming. Yeah, we did. I predicted in preseason that Brian Daboll would not last past the halfway point of the season. And I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a genie. God dog it, I love to be right. Not that I'm laughing on somebody else's downfall, but this is the business of the sport. I knew it. He wasn't a good coach for this team. I'm not going to disrespect him, for this team. Made a lot of bad decisions, right? Yeah, he won a coach of the year, I think, first, second year, whatever it was. And then now here we are 4 years later. It's like Brian Flores lasted 4 years in Miami. Brian Flores was supposed to get an interview job for the Giants, but Bill Belichick dropped the ball and called Brian Flores, texting Brian Flores, thinking he was texting Brian Daboll, congratulations on the job. And now Brian Flores has to go to his interview with the New York Giants knowing that Daboll already got the job. How sad is that? In a sweet poetic justice, Brian Daboll lasted the same amount of years in New York as Brian Flores lasted in Miami. There you have it. Joe Schoen, whatever it is, the GM, he should have been cut too. But now they got Mike Kafka. It's like the Giants organization is going backwards in time. The GM don't have a clue. Brian Daboll, I thought had a clue, but then lost this clue. Kafka is not going to do better. And Joe Stitcher, how he says his name, I heard it so two different ways. He don't got a clue. And so, and then you got Jackson Dart, career is going to suffer behind this. And it's bad. It's bad. This is what's going on with the organization. So hopefully they can piece together whatever the season is and do something better. But right now it's not looking good. Like I say, I don't glory in another man's downfall. And I hope Daboll bounce back, find something he want to do with his career. But he wasn't good for his organization. Now let's come on home. Listen. If you're in the Metroplex, you already know. I got a lot to say. I'm gonna try to reserve my comments at the top of the hour, but one comment I will make, and then I'm going to read a letter. The Mavericks' new ownership don't know basketball. It's clear. We get it. You're from Vegas. You may know entertainment, and maybe that's what you bought a sports franchise for because of the entertainment side of it. And I got it. You brought your money, boom, 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 but you don't know sports because at the end of the day, even Mark Cuban, the former owner, said it himself, there is no way you make that trade and not get anything from it. Whether you want to part ways with Luka or not, that's up to your prerogative as an organization, and whether we as fans like it, we have to deal with it. But at least get something out of the deal, and you did not. Bad decision. And the fact that whatever issues that we don't know only through rumor mill that maybe there was an issue between Nico and Luka, as an ownership group, you need to come back and say, y'all need to fix that because we do not send away a generational player and don't get nothing from it. You don't do it. That's just bad. That's just bad. So bad to the fact that if this was all complete Nico's doing, then why wasn't he fired at the end of last year? It's simply because I don't think the organization wanted to fire Nico because they co-signed on the deal. I didn't think they want to put themselves on a situation where, like, Nico, I'm sorry, we had an agreement, but we got to, because what happened is it's the fan base. Fire Nico. Fire Nico. That's what got him out. The owners don't know nothing about basketball. They're figuring it out as they go, right? They're still new at this, right? But when your fan base is on your head, at some point, when you start thinking about trying to preserve your company, your fan base, yeah, at some point you got to make a decision, and that's exactly what it is. Exactly. Most likely the worst trade in history of sports, not just bad, but it's sports, period. You know? And it's the fan base that came out there and screamed out, fire Nico, since the trade happened last year and all into this season. And that's what, and as an owning group, when you don't know and you're still learning the business of basketball, you have no choice. And that's just what it is. And I'll go more into details later on. But I want to read to you. This is from who I consider the spokesman of the Lakers fan base. And it was a heartfelt message to Nico Collins and to the whole situation. And, you know, I just want to share that to you fans out there. And this is from the I want to say the VP of fan relations, Coach Martez Turner. And you may not know him, but he says, we just want to take a moment and personally thank Nico Harrison. The man might have lost his job in Dallas, but he will forever have a place in Los Angeles Lakers history. Trading Luka Doncic to LA in the Anthony Davis deal, that was the kind of move that changes franchise, not just seasons. Facts. Luka averaging 37.1 points per game, playing at an MVP level and looking every bit like the next great Laker legend. Facts. You can just feel it. This is the home. This is his home now. The swagger, the energy, the spotlight. He is built on the city as well as losing weight and coming in, something we could never do. Dallas might be sitting in chaos, but over here in LA, we're witnessing greatness in real time. Nico, from the bottom of our purple and gold hearts, thank you. Here's to Luka Doncic, a Laker for life, and the man who's about to hang several banners in the rafters. That is true facts from the fan base of the LA Lakers. How do you let a player of like Luka get away to a storied franchise like the Lakers? I mean, let's really put this in perspective, you know? He said, do you think that conversation? I think all of it. All of it, you know? When you hear these things, conversations, fans tripping, as an ownership group, remind you, and I keep saying they don't know what they're doing, right? They're still trying to learn the business. And you're taking things in consideration, right? Because at the end of the day, they signed off on the trade. So you can't right now put all the blame on Nico because you're trying to protect your decision as well. But when you hear all this stuff, hear these people making these comments, all these different conversations that are taking place, at some point you say, you know what? We're backed into a corner. We got to make a business decision. If this is our next big move as an ownership group, is to fire the guy who made the deal and presented it to us that we signed off. It's part of business, you know. He said the fan base is just as well. We'll talk about that on the as a coach is correct. Yeah, he said as a man. I could touch on it a little bit. The fan base is not wrong. The fan base is what pay your money. The fan base is the reason why you're making the money that you're making. The fan base does have a right. I know it don't seem that way, but the fan base doesn't. They do have a voice. I remember when I go back to the owners of the Golden State Warriors when they let Monte Ellis go, and they had a young Stephen Curry boo the owner because they didn't like that decision. But the year after that, when now Steph Curry is able to shine, and then you fire the coach and you get in Steve Kerr, now he's really just shining. Now it makes it all sense. Some will say, well, maybe we too early with the Luka situation. Listen, Stephen Curry was that young kid out of Davidson nobody really knew too much about other than his namesake. And we watched him, so we get that. But you had a Stephen Curry on your squad. Golden State didn't have no Stephen Curry. They had an old Monte Ellis. So at some point, you getting rid of Monte Ellis and trying to go with a young talent makes sense, even though Monte Ellis was a fan favorite. But he ain't what's up. You know, what's up? You had a Luka Doncic that took you to the championship. And now you trying to say, oh, snap, we're going to roll with Mr. Glass, Anthony Davis. Oh, we got lucky. We're going to roll with the guy who just choked over in the NCAA tournament with Cooper Flag. No disrespect, but he's good. Like, no. To that point, and if when the Lakers decide to move on with Doncic, it would not be a surprise. Duncan ends it. That could be possible. That could be possible. You know, it all depends on how you feel about the city after how he got left. What's going on, Sean? He said Nico had to go. Yeah. As whether you like it or not, he had to go. Y'all, I know some of you guys are joining in late, man. I want to beat that thing, the dead horse. I will make my last statement about this. First of all, just big ups to Texas Tech. I want to be white. So I'm gonna tell you how I work. I'm going to college football right now. I guess if I didn't and let you know where I was going. College football, Big 12, real quick. This is how I roll. I roll because somebody asked me this the other day. You like Big 12, but which one's your favorite team? And I said simply, I like Big 12, but which Big 12 is my favorite team? Simple, the team that has the best record. Because I want Big 12 to go into the conference, into the playoff, and do its thing. And if we get more Big 12 teams in the playoffs, great. But that's how I roll. And so I be flip-flopping. I get it. I'm a flip-flopper, you know, when it comes down to Big 12. So I started out on the Arizona bandwagon because they won it last year. Then I jumped on over to Iowa because they were projected to win the Big 12. And all of a sudden they started losing. And then I jumped on Cincinnati. Then Cincinnati lost. And then, you know, I was on Texas Tech heavy. Then Texas Tech lost. And so they left me with BYU. And then BYU lost to Texas Tech. So guess what? I'm back on Texas Tech's bandwagon because I'm Big 12. But Cincinnati, BYU, and Texas Tech, they're all in that top. So they're going to have to play each other. But that's how I roll with Big Tech. But that was a good match between Texas Tech and BYU. 29-7. It is what it is. The better team won, and we're going to leave it at that. Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles gave us the worst football show experience that I've seen in a very long time from two supposedly top-tier teams. Now, we get those Arizona versus Cleveland or something like that, you know. Hey, truth be told, the two worst teams in the league, Cleveland and the Jets, had a better game than what these guys had. And it's embarrassing. Green Bay, the second time losing in prime time. I defended the Green Bay Packers because on Lewis and them show, they asked earlier and said, hey, did we consider Green Bay a contender too early? And I said, you know, in the preseason, no, we didn't consider. But now they're coming down to the end to where nobody's taking them serious anymore, and it's sad. It's sad. He did sell him, yeah, Nico did sell him analytics, you know. So the Green Bay Packers sold Wolf's tickets, had us all believing, and right now they're letting their franchise down. They're letting the NFL down. They're not putting up a good product. And even though the Philadelphia Eagles will finding ways to win games, they've been going viral for the last couple of weeks because they haven't been putting out a big product as far as what the fans want to see. Now I get it. Some fans like a win is a win, and I'll give them that much. A win is a win. So Philly, I'm not going to troll you too hard, but Green Bay, that was bad. Brian Daboll, gave up a big lead to the Bears, and that's why he's out. And then you start going over to the Jacksonville Jaguars and how they gave up a 29, what was that, a 19-point lead? It was 29-10 going into the fourth quarter, and they lose 36-29. If you're a fan of Houston, you loved every bit of that. But if you're a fan of Jacksonville, yeah. But we're getting into that middle part of the NFL season to where right now there is no true front runner as far as who we consider that is the team to beat. We see highs and lows, ebbs and flows, ups and downs from some of our great. Like what we saw out of Detroit the other day is not the same Detroit we saw consistently throughout the season. What we saw out of Patriots is not the same Patriots we saw throughout the season. What we've been seeing from Buffalo has been greatness, but guess what? Buffalo lost to the goddamn Miami Dolphins. So we don't know who is what in this league. He said, that was a tremendous defensive game between the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. I had some nostalgia from back in the day. Okay. I'm not going to expose it, but Drew and I was somewhere watching the game together, and I did not. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it was a defensive game, but at the same time, from two primetime players, 10-7, we saw it down the stretch that it was some suspect offensive plays out there. But hey, yes, back in the day, these are the type of games that you saw. Well, if you saw a 21 or 27-point game, you like, oh my God, they really put you know what? Because in our day, it was a very, very strong defensive game. It was a more strategic game. It wasn't this air raid type stuff you see now that they're trying to adopt from college football. And so I get what Drew is saying. But I'm just saying from modern times and what we're in right now, yeah, what Drew was talking about it, the majority of the fan base wasn't alive back then. Well, these new fans weren't alive back then. So I have to at least call that out right there. But no, it was bad. It was bad from what we expect out of these two franchises. We weren't expecting to put up 40 and 50 points. But I was expecting to see something in the late teens to the low 20s if it's going to be a defensive game, Giving up 3 touchdowns don't necessarily hurt your fantasy football if you have that team as your defense. So whoever had the Philadelphia Eagles as well as the Green Bay Packers, if you had them on your defense, boy, you cleaned up this week. And if you had Jalen Hurts like one of our friends did, you lost this week. But yeah, this comes to the end of the show. Listen, and right now it's 7 o'clock at the top of the hour. Please join us. Like I said, I'm going over to Facebook Talk Radio over on Facebook. Type in Facebook Talk Radio. If you don't find that, then definitely type in Lewis Medford on Facebook. I'm going to actually, I'm going to share the content on my page. So if you can't find Lewis Medford or Facebook Talk Radio, click on my page on Facebook, and then you'll see the content there. But this is your boy, EC22. This has been the Fair Weather Fan Channel, man. Thank you guys who've been watching. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Jonathan G. Thank you, Andrew Williams. And thank you for my boy, Sean, for you guys to jump into the comment section, man. Please like, subscribe, share. But most of all, leave comment because we want you to join this conversation. Join us over the top hour on Facebook Talk Radio. This is your boy, EC22. Like always, Tony produces. By myself, am out. Until next week. Peace out, fellas.